I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about relationships that will never work.
Ooh, those are strong words. Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with us, you can do so by booking on the website.
That's right. You know, there are a lot of different situations that are so toxic and so unhealthy for so many reasons. It's probably better to walk away. And sometimes we get so caught up in how we feel about a person, we can't see things clearly. We can't really see how unhealthy it is and how unhealthy the dynamic is, or that we've been or they've been. And it can get pretty intense.
It gets really messy when two people are struggling specifically with their mental health and bringing the worst sides of themselves to the relationship.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain things that we can control. When we talk about the locus of control, we have control over ourselves, our behaviors, things in our own life. We can't really control our partner. We can't force things. So a lot of times, when we try to, it leads to messy situations, and sometimes you have to make the best decision for yourself and walk away. We always talk about protecting yourself at the end of the day.
One of the hardest things to do is to take a step back from a situation and be able to kind of like look at it in a lighter way, because we cling so hard onto what we want. But sometimes you just got to take a step back and laugh at a situation, laugh at ourselves, and not take things too seriously. So if we make some jokes about what's going on in this one, and Victoria has no idea, she hasn't seen this one at all.
This is a blind react.
But I read this one a couple weeks ago. I set it aside because I knew there's a lot of stuff going on here. And a lot of you guys are going to judge, but don't be so harsh, because you probably did a lot of these things too. Feedback helps us grow, okay? So when you see some of this stuff going on in this one, and quite honestly, it's a good thing you're strapped in over here.
Oh, God.
There's a lot. All right, so how many red flags will you count in this situation? Let's see. All right, here we go. They say, "Good afternoon, Craig. First, I wanted to say thank you for your many videos that you've created over the years. I have listened to many of the videos and can say that your team's comments match the feedback that I am receiving from the therapist that I'm seeing." So that's great. They're in therapy. Okay, in 2021, I went through a very difficult separation which led to divorce after adultery. Get that? Can we have a little red flag, like a little ping? Bing, bing. Every time there's a red flag. Mental and physical abuse. That relationship in my rear view, and I have forgiven her and the individual that she left me for. Okay, so they came through a lot of difficult stuff in the previous relationship. I did, however, meet an individual several months into the separation. And even though I dated around, this woman and I became very close. Let's call this woman Becky.
Okay.
Becky was actually a bartender at what kind of restaurant would we call this?
It's a
busty restaurant?
You can. A very bodacious, a very robust type of faster food establishment.
Yeah. Okay.
Not super fast food, but it's like medium paced food.
Yeah. But we don't want to say who.
We don't want to say who.
If that gives a hint. Who. Okay. People are like, huh?
People who don't live in America.
Yeah. All right, so this is pretty rough, okay? So Becky was a bartender at an establishment, and he said, I didn't expect anything from a relationship, but she began chasing me. Becky is an amazing mother of a teenage daughter and also going through a separation on her own. However, hers was several years ago. I believe this is where we truly started to connect. I became friends with several other servers there, and we started going out frequently at that time to other bars. I know that it made her jealous. So they got another little red flag there. Jealousy. Mm-hmm. In the spring, she asked if we could get dinner frequently, which then led to flirting and kissing. She then started to open up to me. We told each other that we had feelings for each other, and she began contacting me multiple times daily. So far, not so bad.
Okay.
Right? She would tell me anything and everything. I started to learn that she was physically abused, sexually assaulted as a child.
Wow.
Some of the other things going on was that the girls at her job were trying to get her fired when she began managing. Okay, so there's a reason, something's going on that this woman isn't liked, that people are trying to get her fired. This is going to come up again later. That's why I bring it up.
Okay. And I'm also surprised at the amount of vulnerability that they're sharing between each other at this point. You know, so she's opening up about some serious, experiences in her past.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's telling me how quickly this relationship is going, the depth of it.
Yeah, intense.
Yes, yeah.
I decided to help her with her resume and in her search to find a new employer. She ended up leaving when things got bad, and I was there to support her. She went to work for a clothing store at the mall. At this point, we were talking every day, and she told me she was hurting for money. An individual that managed the previous restaurant was friends with her, and her husband ended up moving in with her, her roommate and daughter, to help out with bills. She had told me that he liked her, but she didn't want something to happen if they broke up because her daughter looked up to him. She then told me that she suffered from mental illness, bipolar, and was seeing a therapist. During her time at the clothing store, she was going back to school for business and always looked to me for support emotionally. I didn't want her and her daughter to suffer, so I started to help her financially. Okay, so far the red flags aren't too bad, but we're going to be going downhill real quick real soon.
Okay.
In the fall of 22, she got an assistant manager opportunity at a similar restaurant to the other one, which I could hear you laughing, which I was hesitant to support, even though it was really good money. She started this, and this is when the relationship started to turn cold. She would still call and text every day about anything, but she started to tell me that I was insecure, meaning him, which I was, and that I was not attractive.
Okay.
That's kind of hurtful.
Well, I mean, he was able to admit his own insecurity. So I wonder what that meant. I wonder what happened to make her say that. What really was going on there.
Oh, yeah. It says it was not attractive, not I was unattractive. Sorry. Okay. In time, it got to a point where she told me that she didn't ever want to date me.
Whoa. Okay, so now she's retrospectively saying that she didn't want to date him.
Despite him helping financially, helping her out in a lot of different ways. Okay, so...
And I will comment on that. Sometimes we have a feeling and it causes us to think about the past and the present very differently. So sometimes you will hear exes say, oh, I never wanted to be in this relationship in the first place. I should have never dated you. This should have never happened. People are saying that out of anger and saying that about the past based on how they are feeling in the moment.
That's very true.
If you were to ask them while they were in a relationship with you if they would have felt that way, clearly they would have said no because they were in it.
Absolutely.
Given that it's consensual. So.
Good point. Sadly, I would still flirt, and she would sometimes enjoy it. I would visit her at work, and she would notice that I would get jealous when she would flirt with other guests. So we got some more jealousy going on here.
I'm also curious about how much he's educating himself on the things that she had told him. She told him some pretty big things about her mental illness, about her history, and it takes a certain type of person or a certain type of skill set to be able to really support a partner who's been through those types of things.
That's
so
right.
guys, take it seriously when someone divulges information about their mental health, about their past. If someone tells you that they're super into tennis, I'm sure you would look up a thing or two about tennis to impress them.
Yeah.
So if somebody is telling you serious information about their life,
They're bipolar.
that absolutely affects the relationship. Why wouldn't you do some research on your own and see, okay, could these things apply to this person if they're going to become my partner? These things are super, super important.
But sometimes we get so caught up in, I like them because she's probably really pretty based on the restaurant she was working at, and liking all the attention.
Oh, yeah.
I ended up stopped going there due to conflict with another manager, and he said that Becky had patrons bringing her gifts. Him. He was bringing her gifts to work. I didn't want to get her in trouble, so I stopped going in. During her time at the new restaurant, she has received an enormous amount of negative reviews. Get those red flags. Why are people leaving negative reviews? Which she thinks is from the girls that used to work with her at the other restaurant. So this woman is so disliked that she believes that the new negative reviews are from the people that she used to work with. It's possible, or it's actually new reviews.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not going to find this girl very likable. You'll see as we go. She had issues with other managers there, but I always coached her through the issues. She has always wanted a house she was renting before and another baby. Since she was told in the past, she's in her 30s now, her early 30s, she could not have another baby, she was looking to adopt. Last summer, she found a house, and I helped her pay down some credit and even the down payment. Now remember, she said she didn't want to date him. She never wanted to date him. I'm already getting this feeling that she's really using him, and he's helping her out financially, helping her out with this down payment on the house.
I'm curious, too, about his level of investment here. Clearly, there's monetary investment. I'm curious about his emotional investment, where he thinks this relationship is going, his intentions for it. I mean, she had made it pretty clear that she wasn't interested in dating, even despite the mixed messages. If you look at her words, there was some pretty strong words that were said that I wouldn't ignore if I were him.
That's right. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at. And you're going to see it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it sounds like, I'm hesitant to jump into she is using him. She might be presenting things in a way of, I need some help. Wouldn't it be nice if I could get some help? But he may also be volunteering some of this.
Yes,
Let
I
me
agree.
help you.
Yes.
To be seen in a certain light, to think that he can buy his chances with her, which feels very transactional.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. So he helped her with that because she didn't think she was going to be able to get it. She told me over and over again that she didn't want to owe anyone debt, but she never paid me back, nor did I ask. Okay. I asked if her roommates could help, and she said they had little money to help. She didn't ask, but I wanted to help. So he really liked her. He wanted to help her. He really was invested in her.
And I will say, this is something common that I see in men. I think it's so ingrained in men specifically to be providers that sometimes they have that idea that what I can give to someone, to a woman, is what's going to make me be liked and loved and appreciated and approved. So, that's something that if I were his therapist, I would like to break down with him. What are his intentions behind providing all of this money for her? It could be out of the kindness of his heart. He sees someone that he's attached to struggling and he wants to help. But, I'm curious if there's more layers to it.
Well, I think he likes her so much. He wants to help out, and he's going to get taken advantage of here. There's nothing wrong with helping out somebody that you care about, but it's got to be more reciprocal. If one person is saying, hey, I never want to date you, which he already said, it's going to get real clear here in a minute.
Well, I'm also cautious about that because reciprocal isn't money and you get affection out of that, like a slot machine or
like people have to say that they're, care about each other and they want something to work.
It sounds to me like he's pushing some of his help onto her.
Yeah.
And that's the part that gets me a little bit concerned, because she's saying, I don't want to owe anybody anything.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, but let's face it, and a lot of women that work jobs like this are going to take what they can get.
Yeah. But is there anything wrong with taking if he's pushing it?
I mean, that's, exactly, right? Right after she bought the home, she had already planned to visit her parents in the summer, and she went out there with her daughter to another state. This is also where her ex-husband is located. I was pissed when I found out that her male roommate went with her and her daughter when he didn't even help on the down payment of the house that he's now living in. She got mad at me when I brought it up, and she said that it was none of my business. Nice friend, isn't that? And that he asked to date her, but she continues to say no. She did admit that she had feelings for him. So after everything he's done to try and be helpful, try and be there for her, try and support her, try and get her a house, try and help her with her job, she has feelings for another guy. But wait, there's more. Can we go on?
I see it from his perspective too, where, at certain point you have to have consideration for another person. Even if they are completely willing and consenting, you have to realize, okay, I understand this person helping me out financially is because they're also emotionally invested.
Yeah.
And what can I do to mitigate the damage to themselves if I'm really not interested?
Yeah.
So I could see where, there could be a lack of consideration there as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it seems like she's taking advantage of him.
And it also seems like he's, pushing a lot of these things. I will agree
he's
that
like ignoring.
It also sounds like some of the money might also be coming with control.
Yep.
He's saying, well, this other guy is not paying any of the down payment. This should be the way that I say because I'm investing into this.
Mm-hmm.
So that also doesn't feel very great either. If you're going to give a gift, which is what it sounds like, you have to be okay with whatever outcome happens. You can't give a gift and then try to manipulate using that money, which it sounds like there might be some aspects of control there.
Yep. Okay, let's go on. How many red flags you got so far?
Whew, too many.
When she finally divorced her husband after nonstop fighting and having to support him financially while he lived with her parents, he and her dad ran a business together, she asked me to come be her witness. Her female roommate at that time ended up coming to support her. Afterwards, she seemed like she had buyer's remorse and was upset when the judge asked if there was anything they could do to work it out. She said that he had his chances. Several weeks later, her female roommate of several years had a falling out and she moved out of her home. So now she's struggling to get along with her female roommate. Add that to the list of people. In the fall, I ended up helping her buy some decorations for Halloween. Buying stuff again. Since her favorite holiday, and both years that I've known her, I bought her stuff and her daughter gift sets, even though she said she didn't want anything. I got her daughter a dirt bike that she said she wanted for Christmas. Every time I wouldn't respond to her over the last few years, she would say things like, "Did you block me?" And she would send several messages to my Instagram. She would never allow me to follow her on Facebook, as she wanted her friends and family to be separate. More like kind of hiding him.
Yeah. This is tough, man. Social media, it's the public platform that we use nowadays to let other people know what's happening in our lives. So I personally get very suspicious when someone doesn't have any social media presence or when they're very private about those things.
Yep.
Now, I understand certain people in certain careers, you need to protect yourself in that way. Some people don't like to have their data online, easily accessible by other people. But her saying that she likes to keep those things separate, there is something there that makes me think that she's hiding something.
Yeah.
And or doesn't want, and or is hiding him from other people.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what's going on here.
It could be vice versa too.
In January, we met up and she asked me if down the road she was interested in me, would I still want to be with her, even if we weren't talking? I told her yes. She told me that I was an amazing man and that I need to date.
Okay, she's making it pretty clear.
Yeah, another hint there. You need to date. Mm-hmm. You're so amazing that I think everybody else should date you but me. Ugh. I continued to surprise her with gifts at work, like breakfast and drop off medicine at her work when she was sick. I'd put a note on everything and she would always smile. Mm. Oh, it's so lovely. Now get out of here. My customers are watching.
All of this also doesn't sound like she's asking for it. It doesn't sound like she's saying, hey, bring me some food. Hey, get me this, get me that. Mm-hmm. In an entitled type of way. It sounds like he's really pushing himself into her life by any means possible. And her being in a financially vulnerable position, he's saying opportunity and I can win her over with money.
Yeah.
So...
That's what I'm trying to say. This is like a relationship that's not going to work, and it's even going to get worse. So
yeah.
Her daughter's birthday was coming up, and she was taking her daughter to a weekend dirt bike trip, and they invited her ex-husband and her male roommate. After that weekend, I heard little from her, but she told me she started to have feelings for her ex-husband again. Mm. And that her male roommate told her he was moving out. Wonder if there's a correlation there.
And one thing that I also want to note is you can get a good look at someone's overall mental health by looking at different areas of functioning. Mm-hmm. Right now we saw that the work situation was falling apart. Yep. Here we're seeing even in her home, even with her housemates, there seems to be issues there. In her romantic life, there seems to be issues there. So if you're looking at these different aspects, okay, what is seeping through? Mm-hmm. Do they have a good grip on any of these areas? Yeah. So far, I'm seeing concerning things in different settings.
And there's more. Okay.
Let's get into it.
I bought her Valentine's Day flowers, and she got upset, but told me that she never got flowers or anything from anyone, and it felt good. Feels so good, but get out of here. Right?
Well, I mean, I also don't blame her. He's getting her all this stuff. She's making it clear in multiple ways, I think directly and indirectly. Oh, I have feelings for this other guy. Oh, I'm not emotionally available because of that reason and this reason.
This is the second guy she said she's had feelings for now already.
Yeah.
But not him. And she told him, not you. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. She blocked me on Instagram and all social media that day. So she was so enthralled by those flowers that she blocked them on everything.
Well, I also think she was trying to be polite there.
Yeah.
And this is something that, I might have said before, we might have talked about before. Something that I do see more commonly in men is when they are rejected, sometimes an anger response is there.
Yeah,
sometimes it can get violent. So I could see her in an awkward situation just socially with these flowers of, oh, this is not really someone that I'm romantically into. This is someone who continues to try to get me gifts. It sounds clearly like she has an issue with setting boundaries here. It sounds like she was also trying to be polite. Oh, nobody's ever treated me this way. Thanks.
Thanks. Get out of here.
So
let's keep going. There's a lot more.
It sounds like it reached some type of limit. She couldn't directly tell him, hey, don't do these things. So she resorted to blocking on social media.
Yeah. Her birthday was coming up, and right before her birthday, she told me not to get her anything for her after she had told me what she wanted. Randomly, on a Wednesday in March, she asked me to come up to her work because she missed me and gave me an amazing hug. Don't buy me anything, but here's what I want. I miss you. Now come bring me that gift. Here we go.
Oh, no.
The next day, she told me that she didn't want to be my friend anymore, and she stopped talking to me altogether.
I will say clearly there are emotional issues here, but I also want to say, I could see part of this back and forth too, is this is a person who's already given her a lot of money. So even though she did say, I don't want to owe anybody anything, I think there's still that theme and those ideas and that message inside of her. I think it goes a lot deeper given what we know about her trauma history.
Yep. She said that she received another negative review at work and that she thought I was still communicating with her previous coworkers that hated her. I tried to fight for several days with many texts and calls, but nothing. I guess trying to tell her, no, it wasn't us or me. I went into no contact and started seeing a therapist and watching videos online, including yours. I even started learning Spanish, something that she wanted to do with me, and even got me learning books for Christmas. After about a month, I decided to send her a note, which she responded to via text after a few back and forth messages. She told me that she never wanted to be friends and to leave her alone. That's rough.
That's a pretty clear boundary.
The next morning, she called me on the way to work.
Oh, no.
I was stunned when she told me that since I was going to find out, she wanted me to hear it from her, that she was 12 weeks pregnant.
Whew.
Which mystery man was it? She was terrified that I would be mad and would cause drama. When really, even though I was extremely upset and disappointed and hurt inside, I was happy for her and supportive of her. She started to open up again, and it was like old times. However, she told me that she would never trust a stranger with her baby and that she was going to have to quit her job when the baby comes. Uh-oh.
Ay, ay, ay.
She's going to need some extra financial support. Wonder who she could find for that.
No.
She also said that she hadn't told the father.
This is stressing me out, Kirk.
And that she didn't want him to think that it would lead to a relationship. So we don't even know which guy it is.
Well, she might. It sounds like she
She
does.
might.
It sounds like she
might.
does.
Yeah.
And that she didn't want him to...
But we don't know.
Well, we don't know. It sounds like he doesn't know. Oh, she's in a pickle. She's in a pickle. And this is hard because she was in a vulnerable position before. She's in an even more vulnerable position now. And from his point of view, he continues to help her out. Now she's in an even more vulnerable position. If that's their dynamic, if that's the transaction that's happening, he's probably thinking, okay, well, now she's more locked into me because I have things that she can provide and she's in an even more vulnerable position. But guys, you don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's with you because they have to be with you.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to buy love. You know, all of that is really superficial. It doesn't feel good. I'm sure this does not feel good for him to be repeatedly told, I'm not interested in you, don't talk to me, you know, and this back and forth dynamic.
I'm interested in my ex-husband. I'm interested in this other guy, the roommate, you know.
She struggles with boundaries, and at a certain point, he needs to, you know, set some boundaries himself, too. It sounds like he's struggling with that also.
Here we go.
It's always me and the boundaries.
I brought her breakfast to work. And when she saw it, she smiled and only wanted to hug me. I started to tear up and kept saying that I was okay and it's fine when she would ask what's wrong. So he's obviously very upset. I left and she said that I still needed time. I called her back and she said that she didn't want to not talk to me anymore.
Okay.
The next day, however, when I called her, she picked up and rudely said that we were not going to talk like we used to. I did not reach out to her for several days, and I sent her the following note. Good morning. I want to apologize for the other day. I know that you have an enormous amount of things on your mind, and I also know that it wasn't easy sharing what you did with me. First, I want you to know that you're my best friend. She is not a friend. She's just exploiting this guy. I'm not seeing any kind of reciprocal friendship from her. You're my best friend, and I never wanted you to feel like you can't tell me anything and that you can't trust me.
Well, I mean, she was also terrified to tell you some things about her life, out of fear that you would get mad and be upset. So,
second, I'm very happy that you found someone to give you something that I know you've always wanted, meaning the other baby. that she's pregnant with. You guys might be forgetting red flags as we go. Obviously, it was hard for me because you know that I loved you deeply and wish that could have been you and I. I hate that my insecurities pushed you away over the last few years. I didn't value myself, and I'm changing that. I know that I'm a great man, and I'm going to continue to grow on that. Lastly, I do want you to know that I have and always would be there to support you no matter what. Nothing changes how I care for you. You're an incredible mother, and you're going to give that little one everything. That child and father don't know how lucky they are to be in your life forever. I would have done or given anything for that. I've always wanted the best for you and your family. You know that I hate not talking to you, but I have been seeing someone that I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to give you your space, and I know you've got a lot to think about. So he really tried to give a thoughtful message.
Well, I find that to be very manipulative. I find it to be crossing a lot of boundaries. I find it to be honest, a little bit delusional. And that's just my perspective.
When I say thoughtful, I meant he's putting a lot of thought into what he's trying to articulate. He clearly cares very much about this outcome. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to say it and do it in a way. I'm not disagreeing on the manipulation. Mm-hmm. It's clearly all there. But he's trying to you could see how much effort he's trying to put into what he's writing to her.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to write it very eloquently. Mm-hmm. Despite, we can see that there's manipulation tactics here, and he's trying to use guilt and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Should we get into her response?
I just think this is a woman who multiple times has stated her disinterest in you. Yep. And you're saying that you wish that the baby that's currently in her womb would have been you and her, while you're also seeing someone else?
Yes.
This is my raw reaction, you guys. This one is a shock for me, and I would really cause him to question, what he's saying here, to really think about what he's portraying to her, what kind of a message he's sending to her. Sure, you can think that. You can think anything. There's no such thing as a thought crime, right? But putting it into words and giving her that note is a completely different story.
Yeah.
So I don't blame her response that's about to happen.
This guy deserves a lot better than this. Mm-hmm. This is not a relationship of love and kindness and mutual respect.
Well, does he deserve better than this, or does he deserve...
Anybody deserves better than this.
Does he deserve better than this, or does he deserve what he's putting into it? You know what I mean? It's...
I'm not saying that what he's doing here is appropriate, mm-hmm. and that he deserves better because of what he's done here. I'm just saying that people deserve someone that truly loves them, and love should be about kindness and reciprocation and caring and trust, mm-hmm. not some kind of transactional situation. Now, I do think that part of this is how she looks, and he's maybe obsessed with how attractive she is. I don't know. I haven't seen her. Based on the restaurant she works at, you can make some assumptions. But let's see what she replied with to that long, whatever kind of message you want to call it. You have already stated this several times. You don't need to continue to repeat it. Have a nice life. Good for you.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. He was saying that he would want the child that she currently is bearing to be his and hers, after she stated so many times that she didn't have interest in him. Granted, she accepted his gifts. Granted, it sounded like she was trying to be polite and friendly, and even calling him, breaking her own boundaries that she had mm-hmm. set to communicate with him, and in times of need. And he's sending this type of a message that's highly romanticized. I find it to be really disrespectful, to be honest.
Yeah. So what do you think she did? Guys, make a prediction. What do you think she did to this now, or after this, right? She sends that message. Mm-hmm. That pretty cold message. You've already stated this several times. You don't need to continue to repeat it. Have a nice life. Good for you. 2 hours later, she sent me a text message asking for a favor. She works at a bar that has a rental cop, but wanted to text me, even though I'm not law enforcement, but have friends that are, about a matter of a fake ID. I responded and left it alone. Then she called me that night and asked me to talk to my sheriff friends because her daughter told her that her friends are sending nudes to 18-year-old and older men, and the school wasn't doing anything about it. So says, have a nice life. Then she asks for a favor, reaches out to him again. I told her that I'd take care of it, and that's the last of that I've heard from her. I don't understand why she's reaching out after saying have a nice life and then went silent. She is known to be very jealous and always asked if I was seeing other people, even though she would tell me to date. I have been in no contact since and have been working on myself. I have forgiven her for everything, and to hate her and this new father would only make me lose my respect for myself. I know that this was a lot, but I do still love her, even though I'm dating other people, and I think about her a lot. I miss her friendship. We never officially dated, but for some reason, I do feel a part of her misses and loves me. Do you think I should remain in no contact? Do you think she misses or has any feelings for me? She has blocked me on all social media, and we don't have any mutual friends. I doubt she's monitoring my growth, which is my focus. Do you think she'll ever reach back out and want to rekindle a friendship or more? I appreciate your reading through this and any insight you can provide. Okay. Where do you want to start? Oof. Do you think we should remain in no contact? Yes, absolutely. Yes. This woman could not be any more clear that she doesn't have any romantic interest in you. Mm-hmm. It seems to me like she is exploiting you and using you. Okay? She uses you for favors right after she says, never contact me again. Mm-hmm. She's allowing you, she accepts money for you, but then she says she doesn't want to date you. She's mean to you. She accuses you things that you didn't do, like the reviews on her on the website. Other people don't seem to like this woman. I don't like this woman. Clearly you like her, but, just...
I don't like this man. I'm going to be honest here. There's something that really irks me about this situation. Just as you're saying that she's exploiting him for these things and accepting these gifts, I also think he's trying to exploit her for emotional and, we don't know about sexual reasons, but in the very least that emotional, that romance piece, which she's stating over and over again, no, don't get me these gifts. No, I'm not interested in you. And so this seems like this never-ending cycle that really isn't founded on anything solid.
No. I agree.
And part of the situation, too, makes me really sad because I see that she doesn't have that community support that she needs. For one reason or another. We and him also knowing her trauma history, we know that these are some things that can happen when somebody experiences severe trauma. They experience, difficulties interpersonally. Something that we know. And I think if he were to do a little bit more research on some of the things that she had told him, he might have a different perspective on this too. And knowing that we don't know if she's on medication for the bipolar, we don't know if in certain times where she is breaking those boundaries that she's setting, that she's in a more manic state, and we don't know if some of the decisions that she's making come from a more manic state. So I think he really needs to be able to have discipline in separating himself from this situation. And also just being respectful to the women that he's currently dating now. I'm thinking about that letter. And, he says in the same note that he wishes he could be the father of that child, and also says that he's seeing someone new. So to me, you always have to think about how you're treating everybody in your life. If you are dating someone new, there is a certain level of respect, of transparency that's expected, even if it's a casual situation, because that's how you treat people. It's your character. And here I'm seeing he's really attached to this woman for one reason or another, and he's really, really struggling with accepting that it's, it's a no. He's having a really hard time accepting that no.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot going on in this situation. And that's why I titled the video, Relationships That Will Never Work, right? Because on both their ends, both of them seem very selfish, right? Anxiety causes us to be selfish. And I think he's very anxious. He doesn't see all of his blind spots in how he's coming across where we can see it, and many of you guys watching this can see it, but he's not seeing it. I think he kind of maybe sees himself as like this kind of white knight kind of hero, trying to be her savior, but there are a lot of manipulation behind what he's doing. That's really the agenda here, is to try and get her to date him. A couple last questions here. Do you think she misses me or has any feelings for me? No, I don't think that she has any romantic feelings for you. She's made that pretty clear throughout all of this. Doesn't want to be your friend. She's been really mean, and she did, and using you. Like, she doesn't seem to have any like kind ways of handling him. Like, look, I know you have feelings for me.
Right.
I understand. We're not going to date. I'm so sorry. I don't think we should be friends because you have feelings for me. No, she will ask for favors, doesn't mind taking money, stuff like that. So I think they're kind of both doing these things to each other. Do I think she'll ever reach back out and want to rekindle a friendship or more? Probably not. I think she might reach out in the future to try and get something from you, but I don't see anything other than that. I don't think anything meaningful or substantial will come
And I also think you should be very honest with yourself with that question, because it sounds like you yourself are blurring the lines between friendship and romance here. You're saying, oh, I'm such a good friend, I always want to take care of you and support you. But then you're also sneaking in that bit of, oh, but you know that I will always love you and I have these romantic feelings for you. So there is that bit of pressure, and it sounds like she knows that. It sounds like with every gift that she accepts, she's also accepting that you are getting emotionally involved. So I can see how this is a very toxic dynamic at this point. And if I were you, I would really reassess what you want here. Really reassess what you want. And also what I had said earlier about being a provider. You had also mentioned that white knight, that rescuer complex that might be there. Really dive into that for yourself. You want to be with someone who gives you a hell yes, who's also enthusiastic about you and about the relationship, not someone who's only going to be there when they need something.
That's right.
And if I were him, I would also be
What's in this for him?
Right. If I were him, I would also be looking at someone who has stability in several different areas of their life. You want to be with someone who has stability in their work life, in their family life, in their home life. So that's really what I would be focusing on if I were him, to really reel it back and see, okay, what is it that I want and why am I pining over this person so much? There might also be a bit of gambler's fallacy in this too. Because he's invested already so much, he might be expecting a return. And she's saying, no, there's no return. No, there's no return. So the fallacy here, the distorted thinking here is that if he continues to invest, at some point she's going to give in and give him more, give him what he wants, give him that romance, which she may never. It sounds like she continues to say no. She might have been warm in the beginning, but that's also when the two of you didn't know each other very well. So, at a certain point, once the two of you did get to know each other on a deeper level and she continues to reject you, you have to accept that no.
Yeah. I mean, she's been very clear that she hasn't had any romantic interest throughout all of this. In fact, she said she's had feelings for at least 2 different guys, and we know there's a third because she's pregnant with someone else. It's not even the other 2. It wasn't the ex-husband or the roommate. It's somebody else. So there's been a lot of men that have had some kind of interest going on with her. Meanwhile, there seems to be nothing towards you. So there's a lot to this situation, but none of it seems healthy for you. And I think the best thing you could do is walk away, learn from this, and find somebody that is going to really care about you for you, that you have something meaningful with and values you, and doesn't just try and maybe exploit you or use you. Not to say that he was a saint here, because he clearly wasn't, as Victoria noted in her 453 notes.
In my TED Talk.
In her TED Talk. But I think you should move on from this situation.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem to work out. I don't think this is going to work out for you guys. Unfortunately, I know it's going to hurt you. I know you're sad. I know you're hurting about this. I get it. But if you really take a step back, I think you'll see that this really wasn't meant for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
And cut your losses at this point. You know, if you continue to invest, I think there's more and more hurt for you. And as angry as my reaction was to that note, I know even behind that note, behind manipulation, behind trying to control is fear and is also pain.
Yeah.
So, you know, in having empathy for that, in having compassion for that, you know, I would say really look into those underlying fears. You know, do you fear that you will never be in a secure relationship if you don't provide, if you don't lock someone down with money, or if somebody is completely stable and can completely financially thrive on their own, that they might leave you for someone else?
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of fear that I'm seeing in this situation, and I would like him to explore more of that. I think his options in a partner would look very different.
The good news is he is in therapy. He's probably working on himself, and hopefully in the near future he'll be able to kind of say, you know what, that was pretty crazy. You know, sometimes we take a step back, we have some time, we process it, and we're able to kind of say, man, that was pretty crazy. I'm glad I got out of that.
I wonder what her nickname's going to be when he's telling the story later on in life. We always have nicknames for our exes.
Yeah, that would be a hoot.
That would be.
A hoot. All right, we'll leave it at that. All right, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you, and it showed a lot of different areas of relationships that will not work. We kind of covered a lot of different red flags coming up throughout this one, and gave you some insight into yourself or what healthy relationships look like. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.